Should abortion be illegal? Well, this is a question that is inevitably a bit provocative and can make people very uneasy because it talks about the law clamping down on people and punishing people. And that is something that none of us ever want to see in the ideal world. I think it's a bit unfair to think of the law as only being about punishment and only being a negative thing. In fact, all of us recognize that the law is there for a good purpose and it serves good. International human rights law protects the vulnerable, and that is what it is there for. And all of us know countless cases where we have wanted to seek the law in order to protect the vulnerable and in order to achieve justice for innocent people who are at risk of being harmed or who have been harmed. And so I think it's important that we remember what the point of the law is, that the law is there to protect the vulnerable and to make sure that their rights and dignity are upheld. And so the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, which is one of the main human rights laws for the international community, says very clearly that every human being has the right to life. And then it goes on to say that this right shall be protected by law. And the reason for that isn't because it wants to see people punished. It isn't because it wants to see people going to jail or being imprisoned or anything like that. It says that every human being should have the protection of law because that is what law is there for. It is a good purpose to protect the innocent. And of course, if it is true that unborn children are human beings, as science has convincingly and decisively shown, then it follows inevitably that they should also be protected by law. It follows that they should have the protection of the state so that their fundamental basic rights are upheld in a civilized society, and ultimately so that they are treated in a way that is equal to every other human being. Every other human being has, or at least should have, the protection of the law. And so it's a fundamental principle of equality that unborn children should have that same protection. And so it follows, therefore, that unborn children should have the protection of the law, and so ending their life should be illegal. Now, what this doesn't mean is that the law should be applied in a heavy-handed way. It doesn't mean the law should be applied in a vindictive way or in a way that is very harsh and heavy-handed towards people in vulnerable situations. There are many different ways of achieving protection for unborn children, and it doesn't mean that you simply send anyone who is involved in abortion to jail for the rest of their lives. That's absolutely not what pro-life people want to see, and it absolutely wouldn't be just. What it means is that there should be certain barriers in place that make it difficult for people to abuse or violate the human rights of others. There should be barriers in place protecting unborn children and protecting their mothers from the trauma of abortion. And laws that prohibit abortion would ultimately protect both. It would protect unborn children from having their lives being ended, and it would protect mothers from the trauma of abortion, and in many cases from being forced or coerced into abortion. Martin Luther King Jr. once said that the law cannot make the white man love me, but it can stop him from lynching me. And so, although of course laws will not immediately make everyone want to protect unborn life, it will cause a barrier to protect unborn life to a significant extent. And we know that those pro-life laws do make a difference, that they do save many thousands of lives. But at the same time, they teach people about the value of unborn life, and they empower women to go through with pregnancies that might otherwise be aborted. It empowers women to go through with pregnancies that they might want to keep, but are at pressure of being put under pressure to abort. And so the law is fundamentally there to protect, not to be vengeful or vindictive. It is there to protect unborn children and to protect their mothers from the trauma of abortion. And that is why pro-lifers and everyone who supports human rights and human equality should support those laws in order to protect both of the people who are vulnerable in this situation.